Hello and welcome to another episode of Words with Myself.
They say Rome wasn't built in a day, and what they mean by this is that to build something great requires patience, it requires consistency, daily effort and persistence. But I feel like half of the saying is missing, because though Rome wasn't built in a day, it could certainly be destroyed in a day. In fact, with the right weaponry, it could be destroyed in an instant. And I feel like that is as important to acknowledge as the fact that it wasn't built in a day. Because we know it wasn't built in a day. And even that saying seems kind of obvious. And we know things take time and we know to be patient. We might not enjoy doing it. We might hate being patient. We might want everything immediately done. But we know that it's not realistically achievable. But what slips people's minds is that things don't take time to destroy, they take time to create. And this is where this paradigm exists, where people believe that life is unfair. They can spend their whole life doing good things and trying their best to be nice and to be kind and doing good things. And they might have one moment of weakness or anger or, any kind of outburst. And in that one moment, they can lose it all. It might be that you've developed a relationship with someone and you have taken the time and you've always been showing up and doing the right thing and saying the right things and, taking care of them. But then in one moment, you do something where you snap or you say something unkind, and all of that trust that you've built up suddenly gets eroded. Or you might tell a lie because you're scared and they can't trust you anymore. Because trust takes time to create, but it can be destroyed instantly. And this is a paradigm that you will see reoccurring in many themes in life, in many different aspects of it. You can spend a lifetime trying to get rich, and one poor investment and you're back to square one. And you can scream, you can shout, you can call this unfair, you can call it whatever you want. But it doesn't change the fact that it's true, that things take time to build, but they don't take time to destroy. So you need to be very conscious of what you're doing and not allow moments of weakness to dictate and undermine all of your efforts so far. And that is the real art to being patient, is to not get so frustrated that you compromise the hard work and efforts that you have done and the work that you have done to build. Because just like external things, you also take time. You take time to understand yourself. You take time to heal. You take time to grow. And it can feel like because that's not happening quick enough, because you're not moving at the rate you perceive that you should be, or you're not where you wanted to be, you can feel frustrated, like you're not getting to where you want to quick enough. So you might look for shortcuts. You might do something that goes against what you know to be true. You might compromise on one of your beliefs or let down on one of your boundaries. But this will always result in destruction and not the creation. It will always lead to compromise and not into alignment. Let's say, for example, that you had a bad breakup and then you spend a year or 2 years or a decade out of a relationship and you decide that it's time for you to start, seeing what's out there, putting yourself out there, trying dating again or whatever it is, just trying to meet people. And during this phase of trying to meet people, you end up getting frustrated. You feel like you're never going to find someone, you're never going to meet someone that aligns with you or that understands you or that will love you or will be compatible with you, and you get frustrated. So you begin to start slipping into old patterns. You begin to allow compromise. You let down those boundaries that you've been putting up because they seem to be getting in the way of meeting that person that you want to meet. You overlook the red flags, or you tolerate a little bit of the disrespect or the encroachment on your boundaries or the lack of understanding or the lack of listening, whatever it is. Because you want that thing, you allow it to undermine what you know to be true and the work that you have done. So you end up falling into another relationship, and people do this on cycle, and normally without the healing period in between. But people will enter relationships, they get broken, they hurt, they feel resentment, they try to work on fixing themselves or getting better and getting into shape and sorting themselves out, and then they meet another person and then they fall into the same patterns, and it just happens on a loop. Because what typically happens is they run out of patience. They run out of patience and end up destroying the work that they have done. Or it might be that somebody is saving for a holiday and they're so close, they've got almost enough, but they need just a little bit more. So they look to take a risk in order to earn that extra bit of money, maybe a bit of gambling to earn the extra, couple £100 or whatever it is. And then they lose more, and then they lose more, and then sooner or later they default and end up losing it all. And they destroy everything that they have created. A lack of patience and self-destructive habits are detrimental to your life. And I promise you, if you analyze what you've been doing, where you're at in your life, the more you notice your destructive habits, your destructive patterns, the more you will see that this pattern emerges. That you put a lot of effort in, that you get tired or fatigued, or it becomes challenging, or you become impatient and don't want to wait for the result, and then you end up destroying it all in a moment. Because the primary reason why most people are not successful in any and all aspects of life is because they are self-destructive. It's not that they cannot build, not that they cannot create. It's that they get to a point where they are in pain, either through fear, pressures, impatience, whatever it is, and then they end up destroying it. They compromise themselves. And this can simply be that we're afraid of change, so we destroy it. Even though we say that we want something, even though we might deep in our heart's desires want something really badly, we will still destroy it because we know if we get it, things will change. Our life will change. Things will be expected of us. We will have to get out of this comfort zone that we're in. So we destroy it. And the more you are aware of your destructive patterns, your destructive behaviors, the more you can prevent them. You can prevent the self-sabotage before it happens. Most people believe that they are not successful because of something that they're not doing. I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing enough. But in reality, what it's normally is that you're actually doing something. You're actively doing something to hold yourself back. You're actively doing something to destroy what you've built, to prevent yourself from success. You may not be conscious of it, but it's what you are doing, not what you are not doing. And of course, that's not all the time, but much of the time. It is your own self-destructive behaviors that are compromising you, and not a lack of ability or a lack of intelligence or a lack of anything else. It's that you are inhibiting you. You are preventing your own greatness from emerging. You don't believe in yourself, you lack confidence, or you fear what will happen if you change. All of this is self-destructive. And until you change that root, until you address those fears, where they come from, why they're emerging, the fact that they don't serve you, what effects they're having on your life, until you address that, you will constantly, silently and subconsciously destroy everything you are trying to create. There may be things that you do, and you think, I don't even know why I do that. It might be that you're eating junk food and you think, I don't even like this. I don't like the taste of it. It's not good food. It doesn't even bring me pleasure. It's mildly convenient, but apart from that, I don't know why I do this. And the reason is sabotage. The reason why you end up spending money on rubbish that you don't want, sabotage. The reason why you can't prioritize your health and your goals, sabotage. It's all sabotage. When you are not aligned, when you want something, but you can't go for it, or you find yourself not doing what you said that you were going to do. It's sabotage. You are self-destructing deliberately because of a reason, and that reason might be fear of change, fear of success, fear of failure. It could be that you're not even sure that you really want what you say that you want. But until you address that, you will constantly and subconsciously destroy all of your efforts towards it. So before even trying to think, what am I not doing? What am I not doing to get this? Why am I not successful? Why am I not receiving this thing that I'm asking for? Ask yourself first, what am I doing that's holding myself back? What am I doing that is getting in my own way? What am I doing to destroy or compromise what I actually want to do, the life that I actually want to have? Because you will find an answer and you probably will not like it. And it's okay. It's okay to not like it. It's okay to not even understand what it is or why you're doing it. But you need to acknowledge that it's happening so that you can break the cycle. Because you cannot move forward if you are constantly holding yourself back, whether you are aware of it or not. The only way you are free to move forward is if you truly and sincerely allow yourself to do so, without fear, without guilt, without shame, without judgment, without any of that negativity or negative habits or patterns holding you down or pulling you back or destroying what you're doing. That is the only way to move forward. You have to address the root cause of what is actually stopping the flow of abundance coming to you. Because I truly believe that 9 times out of 10, it is you who is in your way. Nothing else, no one else. Everything else is excuses. Once you clear all of the blockages and you forge a clear path forward and you don't restrict yourself or inhibit yourself, then change is guaranteed. Success is guaranteed. You just have to get out your own way. Thank you for listening.